Hey future CPA, in today's video I'm going to share how failing the CPA exam prepared me for something completely unexpected that happened over the weekend, why my eye is all jacked up, and why I'm recording this video in my closet. Please keep watching and you'll learn a whole lot about yourself and failure and passing the CPA exam.
My name is Brian Kessler, and I help smart accountants pass the CPA exam no matter how busy they are. My ultimate goal is to get you from stressed to performing at your best, no matter what CPA review course you're using. Welcome to Ultimate CPA Exam Guide.
All right, future CPA, so why am I in my closet right now? Well, so long story short, I was getting ready I just finished working out. I was in my closet doing one last set of push-ups before I was going to take a quick shower. And on my 40th push-up, I felt a pop in my eye. And all of a sudden, I kind of had this out-of-body experience where I was like, okay, there are moments in your life where things just happen and it changes the course of everything. And for some reason, that was the thought that I had before everything went haywire with my eye. So I felt this pop and then lost vision in most of my right eye. I was seeing double, triple, like things were not right, and I knew something was wrong. And so I was home alone at the time. The wife and the kids, they were out at the grocery store, and so immediately I jump up and for some reason decide to put my hoodie on. I'm not sure why, and then I just start moving around, and then the next thing I know, I'm in my bedroom. Okay, so then the next step, I find myself in my bedroom, and I'm just laying here, hand over my eye, in complete panic mode. Like I can't make a single decision. I'm just not even with it. So at this point, the assumption is that I tore my retina because I felt a pop in my eye. I'm very nearsighted. I actually had corrective surgeries to where a permanent contact lens was inserted into my eye so that I wouldn't have to wear glasses. And it was the best decision I ever made. Changed my life. And I was always told that because my vision is so terrible that I'm at risk of tearing my retina. And so my understanding was, and what I've been told, is that if you tear your retina, you're not going to feel much pain. Like it just kind of happens because you overexerted yourself and so forth. Well, as I'm laying here, just in complete panic mode, all of a sudden I feel pain. And then that pain extends and it goes to the back of my head. And so at this point, then I start freaking out because my assumptions were kind of, my assumptions were broken. And so I was feeling a lot of pain and I didn't know if I was having a stroke or an aneurysm. Like I literally thought I could be dying. Like I didn't know. So I was like, that put me into fight or flight mode. And so I had this moment of clarity where I got up, found my phone and called my wife. So let's back up a second. So how did I go from lying on the ground in complete panic mode to being able to come up with this idea that I needed to find professional help? And so going back to the fact that I am somebody who failed the CPA exam multiple times, I think that really taught me a life lesson about myself. And so, I overachieved in college. I was, great student, got great grades, and just assumed that the CPA exam was going to come naturally to me. And then when it didn't, it rocked my world. I had never failed at anything before, and it was a completely humbling experience. And so, at that point, and I had gone through life just figuring things out on my own, and I didn't ever really ask for help. Typical guy, just didn't ever consider asking for help. And so when I failed the CPA exam and I kept failing the CPA exam and then I lost my job because I couldn't pass the CPA exam, I finally sucked up my ego and found help. So I found mentors, CPA exam mentors, people who had passed the CPA exam, people who had failed and then overcome failure. I found those types of people. Now, I was lucky to have those people in my life, and I know that not everyone is, and that's why I created a mentorship program to really recreate the experience that I had when I was sitting for the CPA exam, because I want to be that resource for people who are struggling to pass the CPA exam. And so, that is something that I constantly look for when I am struggling. I try to find somebody who's smarter than me, who has figured things out, and then I can basically buy their experience by investing in whether it's a relationship, buying a program that they offer, and so forth. And so, that moment when I was laying on the ground and then all of a sudden I had a ton of pain, it forced me to take stock. I was like, okay, what still works? So I noticed that my legs were still working. I was still able to talk, whether, a lot of 4-letter expletives. And, I'm just so glad that my kids weren't around to witness it. But basically my speech was still working, which meant I could get up, only with one eye, try and find my phone and then call for help. And so my wife was the first person that I knew I needed to contact, because I knew she was a few minutes away and would probably be the fastest person able to get to me. And so I call her, and she's in medicine, she's in medical. So she just, she could tell I was in stress and panic. And so she was just like, stay calm, don't forget to breathe. And then she was like, I'm on my way home. I'll be there in 5 to 10 minutes. And I was like, okay. So then, then the next step was like, okay, who else can I call? And I was like, well, I know something's wrong with my eye. At this point, I'm up and about and, thinking somewhat clearly through the cloud of panic. And so, I'm assuming at this point that I'm not having a stroke, because I'm able to do all this. So I was like, all right, well, I need to find an eye professional, somebody who knows about my eye and can give me advice. So I've got a high school buddy who has an uncle who's an optometrist. So I was like, all right, gotta call him. So through the panic, I somehow got his phone number, left him a voicemail. And then the next step was I was like, all right, well, I don't have any medical people in the vicinity. So what can I do to reduce this pain? And I was like, well, I probably shouldn't take pills because I don't know really what's going on with me. I don't want to take something that causes even more damage. So the next best thing that I knew, just from my basketball days, was grab some ice. So I just grab an ice pack, put it on my head. And, I've also been told that if you're having a panic attack, that if you take something cold and put it on your forehead or your temple, that it's going to help to calm you down. And it did just that. And so, I think failing the CPA exam, I went through panic. I went through a stage of being like, oh my goodness, the world is ending. But then I figured out a way to overcome that obstacle. And so just like when I was having this medical emergency, I think I fell back on that training to find a way, set strict goals for myself, take stock of what was working, what wasn't working. And then I just step by step just found a way to help myself. And so basically by the time my wife got to me, the ice sitting out in the cold garage, it had calmed me down so that I could be at least presentable in front of my kids and not be in this complete panicked mess. Obviously I was still in a lot of pain, but we made it to the hospital. Then we made it to an optometrist. And then, basically we determined that I had overexerted myself. And then the lens that was implanted in my eye, it had shifted slightly. And, so right now everything is just slightly blurry. So it's like I'm walking around with only one contact lens in. So hopefully we can fix it through surgery or, something. I don't really know, but whatever happens, I'm just going to roll with the punches. So, and again, it all falls back to overcoming failure and just that learning experience that I experienced from failing the CPA exam and then figuring out a way, just slowly, step by step, taking stock of what works, what doesn't work, doubling down on what was working, and just executing. And I mean, you just can't let failure paralyze you. You can't let fear paralyze you. And so, one other scenario that I could have allowed to happen was that I just stayed back in my bedroom, rolling around on the ground, just in this cloud of panic and not taking any action at all. And if something seriously was wrong with me that, could have been life-threatening, if I had just stayed rolling back there, then, I would have never gotten help because my wife would have been gone for an hour or two and, she would have come home and found me just, who knows? It could have been very bad. So, you have to overcome this cloud of panic that can happen if you do end up failing. Or I know a lot of CPA candidates out there are too scared to even start. So they're allowing this fear of failure to paralyze them. Maybe it's a fear of money. It's such a big investment, and they're using that as an excuse to not even get started. And so, you have to take action. You have to look at the investment in your future. And so for me, as hard as it was to get up and find my phone and call the necessary people that I needed, my investment was in my vision. And, I needed to take care of that as quickly as possible, because I knew that there was a real possibility that it was a time sensitive situation where if I don't take action now, I could lose sight in my right eye forever. And so, that was a real motivator for me. And so, for if you're watching this and you're not really sure if the CPA exam is for you, what's the cost of not sitting for the CPA exam? So that's something that you need to look at too, because there's a real opportunity cost here. So if you're in a dead end job, what would not passing the CPA exam do for your career? Are you going to get stuck in this dead end career, or do you have somewhere that passing the CPA exam could take you, whether it's in a different field, different industry, different career path within your own company, and so forth. So these are real decisions that you guys need to make. And I think the worst thing that you can do is just be paralyzed, whether it's from the pandemic, paralyzed from fear of failure, fear of investing in yourself, whatever it might be. So I really hope that you can kind of learn from my experience. I hope that I never experienced anything like I experienced this past weekend. It was not fun. It was very scary. But I got through it, and it's really fascinating to look back at the decisions that I made in the moment and how they were the right decisions and how I was able to make them under significant stress. And so I think really that's what the CPA exam prepares you for. It prepares you for the worst of the worst situations in life. It might not do this on purpose, but indirectly it does. So I do hope that you take on the challenge of sitting for the CPA exam. And if this is something that you're interested in getting started on, I do recommend that you take my free study personality quiz over at freecpaquiz.com. It's a great place to start. It's going to basically be a quiz that's going to assess how you learn best. What's your specific situation? And then I can personally give you a game plan that you can follow to get started slowly, just step by step, with this process of passing the CPA exam. So hope this helps. Hope it's an exciting story, and I hope that I connected it well to the CPA exam. But let me know down in the comments if you've had any similar situations. Are you paralyzed with fear about anything in your life? And maybe you've overcome a fear. I'd love to hear down in the comment section what your stories are. And if you're not a subscriber yet, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel. I try to do stuff like this, real personal events as they happen in real time. So I'd love to have you as a subscriber, and hopefully I can personally help you pass the CPA exam. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch up soon.